This is the murder of Courtney Spraggins. Courtney Desiree Doyle Spraggins was born on March 3, 1995 in Santa Rosa, California, to Norman Don Doyle and Kimberly Ann Swift Walter. Courtney was a veterinary assistant and a certified nursing assistant. Courtney loved her two children, Jessie Spraggins and Kentley Spraggins, and was looking forward to her third child. Courtney loved to hang out and have fun with her best friend Hillary. She also loved her father cooking and dancing with him. Courtney, family, and friends describe her personality as very upbeat and fun-loving, as well as adventurous. It was very hard for Courtney being a single mom, and her two kids often stayed with her mother. In early 2021, Courtney met a 28-year-old officer from Huntsville, Alabama, named David Mccoy. The two met on the dating app Tinder. Things immediately got serious between the two, and Courtney got pregnant shortly after David and her met. However, some months later, Courtney suffered a miscarriage. Although disappointed, Courtney continued to see David. Although Courtney's family loved her, they were not thrilled about her relationship with David. They saw a lot of red flags from the beginning of their relationship and wanted her to stop dating him, especially her mother, Kimberly Walters. Courtney was very aware of her mother's concern about her relationship, but she continued to see David anyhow. But there was something lurking in their relationship that would cause a big rift. David was engaged to another woman and was planning on marrying her and starting a life with her, and Courtney was becoming a problem to him, and he didn't quite know how to deal with it or how to get her out of his life since she was so persistent on being with him. Courtney once complained to her mother about David's lack of time that he spent with her, and that definitely drew a red flag for her mom. She knew that there was something wrong. Either he was tied up with someone else or he just wasn't who he said that he was. Courtney took it upon herself to quit her job in North Carolina and move in with David for a short time in Huntsville, Alabama. However, that situation did not last for long, and David soon kicked her out of the home. While separated from David, Courtney learned that she was pregnant once again and decided to carry the child. David was not happy at all. Of course, this would cause a problem with his life that he's trying to build. How would he explain to his fiancée that he had gotten another woman pregnant? He couldn't, so he decided not to. On January 7, 2022, David convinced Courtney to move back to the apartment with him in Huntsville, Alabama. Courtney was skeptical at first and confided in her mom, Catherine. Catherine told her not to go, but again, she decided to go anyways. Courtney visited her children one more time before meeting back up with David. On January 7, 2022, David shot Courtney in her car outside of his apartment. Courtney was 7 months pregnant. Both Courtney and the unborn child was pronounced dead at the scene. David Mccoy was scheduled to get married in April of 2022 when he shot Courtney. Courtney was not aware at the time of her death that David was in a relationship with someone else. That same day that David shot Courtney, he called the police department where he worked. David inquired whether any reports of shots fired had been lodged, telling dispatchers that he had been roused from his sleep by the gunfire of a small caliber gun. He later told the dispatcher that the woman had committed suicide outside of his home. When his fellow Huntsville officer arrived at the scene and found the dead woman in her car, McCoy told his fellow officers that he had seen the woman once. He later told other investigators that he had never known her at all. David that night helped police at the crime scene, according to reports on a preliminary court hearing, asking for a pair of gloves and telling an officer at the scene that he couldn't find the victim's phone or murder weapon. Later, investigators would find Courtney's phone and a gun that wasn't McCoy's service weapon in a closet inside of his apartment. Due to 25 attempts at unlocking Courtney's phone, investigators at the time could not access its content. After changes stories over 5 different times during the 5 hours of investigation, David finally admitted that he did kill Courtney, and he indeed knew who she was. Police found adequate evidence to charge David with capital murder that day. 3 days after the shooting, Chief Mark McMurray wrote in a statement, "The department announced that David McCoy was no longer a police officer or an employee of the city of Huntsville." David McCoy had mail addressed to Courtney an ultrasound photo of the unborn child in his patrol vehicle. Courtney, as well, had a photo of him and in her vehicle, and text messages between the pair helped investigators piece together what led to the alleged shooting. Around the time that David kicked Courtney out of his Alabama apartment, she had sent him a desperate text asking what she was supposed to do, since she had quit her job in North Carolina to be with him. He reportedly told her that a bullet to the head sounds good to me. Catherine's mother also recalled an incident to police where David had brought Courtney to a cornfield and threatened to commit suicide. Courtney, a single mother of 2, at the time that she met David was just looking for love and someone to build a stable life with. Unfortunately, she came up against a man that had no intention of ever settling down with her. Instead, David McCoy dragged her along until he couldn't anymore and his back was against the wall, and decided to do the most cowardly act and take her away from her 2 beautiful children. My thoughts and prayers go out to Courtney's parents, her sister, and her 2 children that she left behind. May her soul rest in peace, knowing that her killer will finally be brought to justice. Until next time on the Meaningful Talk Crime Doc, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you guys later in the comment section.